super Jew. Because, yeah, the first chance I get to write a show, I said it at a Jewish dinner. So, like, the fake kind. Please. But regardless, I don't really fit. There was this one time that I did. Have you ever heard of a Moishe house? You have, so you know what it is. Okay, have you ever heard of a Moishe house? You haven't, so you don't know what it is. Okay, so what it is, and you could help me out here, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand it is, it's an inclusive and pluralistic space that provides adult programming for Jewish adults, meaningful adult programming. Now it's run by 4 or 5 people, and they usually live there, and they have subsidized housing to run these programs. And they have them all over North America, like LA, Seattle, Washington, several in New York, Chicago, several in Toronto. And they do things like a Shabbos dinner or, you know, festival gatherings. And they also do things as simple as a movie nights or yoga nights. Now this one that I went to on Oakwood in St. Clair West, really, really unique. Do you hear that sound a little bit? Yeah, I know, me too. Okay, just checking in if I'm, okay. Yeah, it was, ooh, stop. It was really unique. And the reason it was is because, well, first of all, I went twice. One was for Purim, which is a Jewish holiday, kind of like the Jewish version of Halloween. You know it. Okay, and then the second one was, well, anyways, I'll tell you how Purim went. It was great. All the English, the Hebrew readings were juxtaposed with an English, and all the, it's okay, you can have that on, no problem here, it's cool. We're chill here, yeah. And then people were sitting on the couches, on the tables, wine and beer was free-flowing, my kind of party. Everyone was dressed all sorts of ways. Actually, we ended up at a drag show downtown near the end. I had a great time, yeah. I had such a good time that at the end of the week, I was invited to a Shabbos dinner, and I went, and I brought Sam, my best friend, not Jewish. And actually, they were doing karaoke, I know, very untypical, using computers. And oh my goodness, Sam and I knocked Beyonce's Crazy in Love out of the park. Yeah, we killed it. But you know, it was so interesting because, you know, Sam felt very welcomed at this event, and I felt that he did. And the more that I spoke with the hosts, the more I realized that they all identified as being gay. Now this was interesting. It was actually the mandate of this particular Moishe house, Jewish and gay. I've never seen that cross before. And, you know, I had never really been allowed to invite friends of mine that aren't Jewish to these sorts of events. And it's not because Jews are exclusive or people who are Jewish are trying to be mean. It's just that these organizations usually get a lot of funding to preserve the Jewish culture, especially amongst secular Jews. That's their target. And it sounds bad, but it's really not. Because, I mean, I grew up with 2 grandparents who were Holocaust survivors with blue numbers tattooed on their arms. Now, when you grow up in a household where your grandparents were part of a culture that society tried to wipe out, it is no wonder that your parents and grandparents and aunts and friends and uncles will turn their heads when you start to mingle with someone that's not Jewish, especially men. Now, this is because intermarriage in Judaism totally off limits. And I think it's because Jews are really obsessed with this line in the Bible of spilling the seed, aka having babies, Jewish babies, to preserve the Jewish culture. And I'm going to tell you something that I probably shouldn't, or I would never admit to in a million years, so don't try to pass this around, but my brother is gay. And I don't think he'll ever admit it or publicly come out and say it, not that he needs to. But I totally get it, because if you make it to the age of 30 in Judaism and you have not procreated, you have 110% failed as a Jew. And this is why the J swipe. Tinder for Jews. Yes, yeah. I was on it. I went through an unfortunate time in my life when I was on it. And the settings are conservative, reform, orthodox, secular, or just Jewish, and then kosher, non-kosher. This is like the diet. And my settings, let me think, was conservative, not kosher. Now, the amount, I know, I don't look conservative. Anyways, I wouldn't say that now. But the amount, I hear you, the amount of awkward stories and like dates that I went on because of the J swipe, oh my goodness. This one time I was debriefing with Sam and I actually made wine squirt out of his nose. Yeah, you can't make this shit up, you know? But anyways, I would tell you some, but that's a whole different show. We would go way over time. Oh my goodness. Speaking of time, we've done nothing. Okay, we've got to start with the first ritual. Now, the first ritual is the lighting of the candles. Now, this welcomes the start of the Sabbath, okay? Now, this is a ritual done by the woman, usually, and in the dining room, and this is the same time in which men are discussing business, sports, and/or politics in the den and living room. Now, every woman lights one for themselves, one for their partner or spouse, and one for every child in their family. I prefer to join in this ritual from the back end of the dining room, using the excuse that I'm afraid of fire, so I don't want to light the candles. But really, I just want to make sure that this dining room table serves as a barrier between myself and my aunt's comment coming that I can only light one as I am single. Okay, let's do the ritual together. Okay, we're all going to wave our hands like this, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Shema, Baruch Shema, Baruch Shema. Yes, we're swimming. Okay, now we're all going to cover our eyes and I'm going to say the blessing just because tradition. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netzilat. Oh man, I forgot it. Don't tell anyone. Okay, that's never happened before. Anyways, that's what I was promised. That was the washing the hands. Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe you can help me next time. Anyways, do you know it? The candles? Do you know it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it again. Redo.
Okay.
Redo.
Wait.
No, we're doing the bread. It's Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehavli ner shel Shabbat. We got it.
To light the candles for Shabbat.
Thank you. Amen. So now we really did it well. Don't tell my parents. All right, so let's keep it rolling. I'm liking this pace because I'm going to get sidetracked again. We'll never get through. Okay, now the second one is the blessing on the wine. The Kiddush, baby. Yeah. Now, this is typically done by the grandfather. In my family, Zai, my dad's dad, and the Zai is derived from the Jewish Hebrew Yiddish Zeta, which just means grandfather. Now, Zai is missing his right hand, his second finger, and his favorite things to do is to shake hands with you and then accuse you of stealing his finger. Yeah, he's 91. It is impossible to meet this 91-year-old man and not fall madly in love with him. He is a bit hard of hearing, much like my father, and this is why you'll often hear the following phrase tossed around at the Shabbos table. For vos shrastu? Translation, why are you screaming? Yeah. So when both my grandfathers were alive on my mom's side and my dad's side, it was really interesting to watch them battle every week. Who had done the Kiddush last week and who was going to get to do the honor of the blessing on the wine this week. But now, it's much less of a battle and more of a slow surrender as everyone looks to the ground. Zaya's throat is often out of commission. And hi, Elizabeth, you can come in. Yes, Elizabeth owns the space that she's letting us host in. You can come in. We're lacking some seats. Do you want to sit here, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yeah, come sit here.
Hi.
Hi. We're just in doing the blessing on the wine. You come sit right down. Thank you for coming.
Hi.
Elizabeth also bought me these beautiful flowers that I had to put down over there. Okay, so anyways, back to the Kiddush. Let's make it happen, guys. So, I also like to do this a lot. I actually offer to do the Kiddush because it takes so long for a male cousin to offer up the turn to do it. So I offer, especially because this will turn a lot of heads at the Kiddush table because it is not typical that a woman will do it. It's not that a woman can't do it, it's just not a natural consideration, and women have done it before if there's any male present whatsoever. And I know it just as well as any male in the room, if not better. Yeah, but once I offer, I have to do it rather quickly because once all eyes are on me, the conversation quickly comes about my dating life or lack thereof. I also like to do it because this will impress the heck out of Zai, who gets a real kick out of watching his grandchildren do anything Jewish related. After I do it, he'll probably say something like, "Oi, Mom, how do you know it?" And if I do it without a prayer book, he'll say something like, "Om Siddur." That means without a prayer book. All right, well, we're gonna get this started. So if you want to stand up, you can. If you'd rather sit, that's okay. We're gonna grab your grape juice in the air. I need a moment. Let's make sure everyone has grape juice. So is there anybody missing grape juice that needs, do we have an extra cup? Go ahead. You know what, I'm gonna need. Right. Oh, thank you so much. Elizabeth, would you like a little juice? Can you pour for Elizabeth? Does everyone have at this table? We need some grape juice. Get yourself settled. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. This is why I invited you. So glad you're here. Here, Elizabeth, this is for you. No problem at all. Okay. Where shall I stand? I'm going to stand here. Okay, good. Let's do it. If you want to stand, stand. If you want to sit, sit. It's cool. Okay. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים את יום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Everyone raise your glass higher as I say. Savremer number of a tie, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei pri hagafen. Amen. We're still going, don't drink yet. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzotav, v'ratzivnu v'sheva kudsho, b'adav ratzon, himchi lanu, zikaron l'maseh breshit, ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra kodesh zecher l'yetziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'farta v'tanu kitarsha mikol hamim. V'shabbat kodshecha v'achavav ratzonim chaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Cheers. Now we drink. I'm really liking this pace. We're going to keep it rolling, guys, to ritual 3 and 4 before I forget what's going on. Okay. So ritual 3, and if you want more juice, if there is more juice, go for it. That feels, yeah, it does feel nice. I think it's because it's like hot in here. So can I put this down here?
You want some more?
Great. Okay, good. So we're all settled and sorted. So ritual number 3. Now this is the washing of the hands. I may need your help with this blessing or not. And then ritual 4. The best part, the blessing on the bread. And this yeah, you've seen the bread. This skyrockets the whole meal into action, okay? So ritual 3, what you do is you take a jug in the kitchen and you pour it over your hand 3 times and you flip palms like so. 1, 2, 3, and transfer hands, 1, 2, 3. Then you ditch the jug over by the sink for the next person in line. Go ahead, take the designated hand towel and dry your hands as you say the following prayer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Amen. Yeah, thank you. And so now you can speak in between ritual 3 and 4. That's the motzi, the blessing on the bread. Okay, great. So you sat in a great spot. Yeah. You're so lucky. All right, I'm just gonna stand here. Is that okay? Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai. Yeah, we might need a second, so get ready, PK. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav. Oh, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And now we eat. Go ahead. Let's pass this around. So maybe we'll get that at that table back there, just to move things along. If you don't mind, grab a piece. This twist out, all right? What's going on here? Great. So now it's not gluten-free, but I do know that the cafe has some vegan desserts or maybe gluten-free. So if there's something that would be better for your diet there, you can go ahead and buy something whenever you like. I'm going to steal a piece. Please take one, pass it on. We've got some tongs. If you feel better with tongs, go ahead. You take one, pass it on. And don't be shy. Please pass it along. Maybe we can actually get someone to take it up and pass. Thank you. We needed you. Thank you so much. Oh, good. It's really good, so make sure you get it if you want. Would you like some, Elizabeth? You want to try some? A little one. Will you excuse my fingers? Okay. Thank you so much. There's a plate for you, Elizabeth. Oh. Okay. Yeah, you can take the plate. Do you? Yeah. What? make sure everyone gets that wrong. This is from Hermes Bakery in Toronto. It's really good. Does anyone want some bread back there? Yeah, you can come take. It's fine. Okay. All right. Is everyone getting settled with the bread? We're all okay? Great. And you can take seconds. I think there should be plenty for everyone. Now, I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to finish this first, though. It usually takes up to, great, thank you so much for doing that. That's why I invited you. I didn't even know.
You can't get with the Jewish mother in
I
the room.
know!
They cannot serve food.
Yes, exactly. So anyways, it usually takes about 2 minutes after all the rituals before a dating comment is thrown my way or at my brother's. You know, and my brother and I don't have a lot in common, but I feel this like closeness to him because there's this thing that we share. And you know, I realized something, that this whole being single is not really a problem isolated to the Jewish culture, because the more I go out and gallivant in society, the more I realize that so many people are curious about my relationship status. Actually, right? Yeah, I can't remember the last time I took an Uber and I didn't get questioned about my dating life. Yeah, and I usually end up getting chastised for not having a family of my own if it gets there, the conversation. And actually, this one Uber driver in Ottawa told me that I'd probably die alone. He's probably right. Yeah.
You didn't tip him, right?
No.
No, sorry.
And you know, Sam's sister, my best friend, she was very curious about my dating life, and she often would say comments to him like, I don't understand why Karina doesn't have a boyfriend. Yet again, when something happens to her, she just calls you. I often wonder what Sam thought about this more than his sister. Anyways, thank you, Craig. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have really gotten through the appetizers now, just to bring you up to speed. I took more. You always want to, just to cleanse, okay? We've done the challah, of course. We've done coleslaw. We've done every salad imaginable. We've done dips of all kinds. Maybe meatballs, maybe some potato knish. And we're just about to move on to the soup. Well, I love the soup. This is my favorite part, and I volunteer for this. And this is because I really like to stretch my legs, but also because you can't be afraid to go in and interrupt people's conversations. Like, I'm serious, you really gotta get in there to take orders. Like, you gotta go right in. You can't be afraid. Okay, this is what we have. We have matzo balls, we have lakshin, that's a type of noodle, we have farfel, that's another type of noodle, we have parsnips, we have carrots, we have celery, we also have knedlach, that's like a matzo ball, I don't know how to describe it. We also have kreplach, which is like, you know, that wonton with kosher meat inside. And anything else?
Like flaky?
Yes. Yeah, they're flaky. Yes, you're right. I think we got it. You have to remember, because you can't write it down.
Do you remember the latkes?
A whole no. I didn't remember the latkes. We don't normally put the latkes in the soup, but if we did, that would be a really interesting soup, Elizabeth. That's a good idea. Latke soup. Anyways, now, because there are surfers, and because there are people sitting on their arses in the dining room, there are 2 different points of conversation going on at any given moment. There's that in the dining room, and then there's all that racket and conversation in the kitchen. Okay? Now this is a frequent one between myself and my aunts behind the scenes. So my aunt would sort of, okay, so my I just thought we were waiting, but we're not. Okay, good. So this would be a typical one. So, did any of the men call you? You know what I'm talking about. And I would just say something like, what? And then she'd go back at me and say, you know, you said you went to Shabbos dinner last week. Did any of the men call you? And then I'd say no, and for 2 reasons. 1, because they don't have my number. And 2, because I left early to walk one of my girlfriends home. So she would reply with something like, next time, stay later. Have one of the men walk you home. Now, I just wonder, for this late night walk home with some strange man, should I bring the pepper spray that my mother gave me? Or Is it okay because I'll be walking home with some strange Jew? Okay, I say, knowing it will be when I debrief this with Sam later on, watching Office reruns and drinking red wine and having popcorn, and I deliver the last bowl of soup to its rightful owner. Now this one has the works, all of the good stuff. You're welcome. You're welcome. I learned really early on in childhood, like most people, never to talk to strangers, unless, of course, they're Jewish. Then it's okay. I also learned about the Holocaust way too young. My grandfather, Zai, told me he was missing his right finger, his second finger, because bears chased him up a tree. I later learned that he was in a lineup of 10 men to be shot. When the 9th man was shot, he fell down, covered himself up with blood, and played dead. I think this is why on all of Zai's birthdays, he always said something like, how it's happened, how I'm here. My father always tells me this story of a kippah wearing phase. That's that circular hat that a lot of men wear to keep themselves closer to God. And he went through a phase when he was 15 in Montreal, and he got off the bus and 4 people beat him up. So that was the end of that. You know, 6 million people died in World War II because they were Jewish. That's a lot of fucking people. Another 5 million died because they were gay, black, queer, disabilities. So that's 11 million people. That's a lot of fucking people. It's kind of hard to understand. Now, the closest I ever came to understanding this when I was shopping at the No Frills in Toronto on Marley and Dufferin and Eglinton, I think it was. And I was shopping, and I was in the cheese section, and I was trying to determine which package of cheese was cheaper. When I figured it out, I put one down, and I went on my merry way to the cracker aisle, and then I felt this energy on my left side. And so naturally, I turned around to see what it was all about. There was this guy standing there with dreads and baggy pants, and he asked me what was wrong with the package of cheese I just threw down. So I quickly explained, oh, nothing, it's just this one's cheaper. And then he asked me, well, how much cheaper? And then, you know, I said, I started to think about it, and then he said, are you Jewish? And I said, yeah, why? And he said, oh, because you think with your... And it was at that moment that this lady who had been witnessing our whole conversation slowly started backing away silently. I will never forget that sly, slow walk back. And I started walking towards the other aisles, and he yelled after me, I like your frizzy hair too. And I was kind of in a daze, and I got that feeling, you know, where your throat leaps into your chest, and I didn't really know why I was there, and there were all these colors spinning around me, and I had that underwater feeling like the whole world is moving around you, and you're just standing still. And I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't get a grip until I got out of the store. And when I got out of the store, I told Sam, and he just helped me. Course number 3, buffet. Now this is every man for themselves. I want to finish the other part first. Now, all food up for grabs would be, I don't know, turkey, matzo balls, ooh, that coffee looks good. Turkey, matzo balls, yeah, it's hot. Well, anyways, pretty much food that's all one color, okay? Yeah, I do understand this idea of how Jews should only date Jews. I don't get it. I don't like it, but I mean, I do get where it comes from. You know, but I find it so much more fun to just meet people, like naturally, you know, when it's not so forced. I mean, think about it, how do you meet people these days? And not just, you know, partners or boyfriends or significant others. Like, how do you meet communities of people that you connect with, right? Think about it, like employers or all those things. Why did I feel such a connection to the Moishe house when I went, not to other things? Or why do I have such a particular affinity for a burlesque group of dancers in downtown Toronto? Oh, it's funny because look at me like, can you ever picture me dancing provocatively in front of a room full of people? But you know, these group of women and in every gender imaginable, just, you know, I would just look at them on the corner of Queen East and Sherborne, and it was like being wrapped in a warm hug. They just got me. And I got them. Yeah, I close your eyes for a second and just think about, you know, a place where you just fit, where you could be 110% yourself. And who's around you? Okay, good, open your eyes. I think it's much less about being gay, about being Jewish, or being burlesque, or anything else, and I think it's just about finding a spot or a space where you can 110% be yourself, you know? I mean, for me, the people and the places that I feel the best connections to are they just happen by accident. Happy accidents. I do not recommend the happy accident of falling in love with your gay best friend. It doesn't end well, ever. Talking about Sam. You know, it started out as a friendship and then quickly grew into the closest emotional connection I've ever had with anyone outside my family. I can't really explain it. Like 4.5 years worth of I can't explain, but this friendship just chose us the moment we met. He was the one who would randomly tap dance out of nowhere. He was the one who would sneak up behind every bathroom door to scare me just for the hell of it. He was the one who would make a deadly sangria recipe. He was the one who built my IKEA dresser. He was the one who rounded gas up to the nearest dollar. He was the one that said anywheres instead of anywhere. He was the one that got mad when people mistook St. John for St. John. He was the one who would call me on my shit, the one who made me feel stupid, like really stupid, the one who used my Netflix account and refused to get his own. He was also the one who would just judge people too much, and he thought I judged people way too much. He was the one who would leave empty cream cheese containers all over our apartment and our fridge. He was the one person in the world I could look across the room in a room full of people, and I knew exactly what he was thinking, and he knew exactly what I was thinking. That blunt asshole. I loved him. We broke up in October, 6 years ago. And I don't know, can you break up with a friend? He left me for a man twice my age and a lavish condo downtown. I got left with a basement, a 1-year lease, and an empty bookshelf. He even took the dishwashing detergent and the wine. And as much as it sucked being crumpled up on a ball of my basement floor, holding my stomach with a half-drank glass of whiskey on my kitchen counter, for the first time in my life, I felt really normal. I had a space from here to here, and a hole in my heart. Sam I don't miss at all. I don't even know who he is anymore. I don't think he knows who I am either. Do I want to meet someone? Have that, you know, connection like I had with Sam? I used to think 4 years ago when I would host something like this, yeah, definitely. But so many things have been said to me over the past 12 years that I don't know where to start, so I'm just going to begin. Are you a lesbian? I don't understand what's wrong with you people. You're a porn star, right? I don't understand. Does he have to be artsy? Are you a lesbian? Who are you? How's your new apartment? Do you need anything? Maybe a husband. Are you a lesbian? Who are you? I told all my friends you're a porn star. Are you saving yourself for someone? Are you a lesbian? Who are you? I don't know. People have said so many things to me and have assumed so many things about me that the idea of being with someone else really, really hard. And you know, a lot of my close friends just say you haven't met the right person or you have an intimacy block, but you know what I say? I say that the void that I have inside of me cannot be filled by another human being. Can I read some of these? Did any of you fill them out? Yeah? Just because I need a break, really. What's your name?
Dante.
Don? Dante, we did your play before. Okay, Dante, name one word that your closest friends or family would use to describe you. Survivor. That's a pretty good word. What about yours? Let's see. What's your name? Steph? I should have told everyone to write their names on the front, but I didn't, so that's okay. Name one word that your closest friends would use to describe. Kind. Does that say kind? No, what is it? Oh, love. That sounds nice. I'm just going to read a few more. Oh, Elizabeth, you're my favorite person. Thank you. Let's read one more. Name one word that your closest friend. I don't need to read. You all know what the thing is. Unconventional. Cool. I think if my friends and family would describe me, they would probably say kind or generous or really, really fun. So I guess I'm a good person too. I think you're all really good people. All right, well, I think we have another show to catch, and they're probably worried about our time, and I still have, it says 5 to 4 from yesterday for me, so that's not, what's the time?
25 after.
Okay, that's almost perfect timing. Okay, so everybody, if there's anything you want at the cafe, please feel free to get something on your way out. Grab your stuff. We have some of our staff staying to clean up, so don't worry about it. Shabbat Shalom, which means have a good Shabbos. And let's, whoever wants to come to the parking lot show, which is next, you follow me, and we're going to have a couple people stay back and clean up. So thank you, everyone. And grab
Thank you.
Thank you for giving up your seat.
Oh, no problem. I've seen this a million times, and it's better for, yeah. I'm glad you got to enjoy it, though.
What'd you write in your